So how to get started with your project like a pro when you're not yet. My name is Jan van Egmond, I'm project management hacker, because there are better ways that are easy to learn and easy to use. So how to get started? And if this is your first project, then congratulations. I've made this video with you in mind. Be with me. Typically, project managers start learning about project management only after they become a project manager. So if you find it difficult to know where to begin and how to be most effective, then you're certainly not alone. Well, this video is about what to focus upon, how to be most effective, and how to get started. And if you prefer reading, there should be a link somewhere on your screen to get this guide. Everything is in there and it is for free. So, your role is completing the project successfully and to stay out of problems. And to do that, you basically only need to fulfill 4 basic needs. And this is actually a project management hack the pros even don't know about. That will make managing projects a lot easier. A basic need is something that must be fulfilled to complete the project successfully, else your project will run into problems. Well, this is just a definition, but the great thing about basic needs is there are just 4 basic needs that apply to all projects in the world, and it makes all the difference. Let me first tell you what they are. The first basic need is resources and materials. This is what every project needs. Now, I directly take a shortcut on this. PMI says that most problems are related to human resources, and that's also what my own research confirms. I've analyzed hundreds of problems, and 94% of them can be traced back to someone who didn't have enough time. Too many other things to do. So I simplify this first basic need to people with time for your project, just like that. The second basic need is collaboration. Projects are collaboration. Nobody can do it alone. To align the work, to overcome obstacles, and to solve problems. Collaboration. The third basic need is about clarity. People need to understand what is expected from them, and this is where the project plan is about. Well, your project is too big and too complex to do it without putting anything on paper, and also too big and complex to share it by just talking about it. You must put it on paper. So that is also the reason that I refer to this basic need as documented plans. Fourth basic need is about adaptability. One thing is for sure, it is going to change. You constantly must adapt to the changing circumstances. And that concludes the 4 basic needs. So this is it. Time, collaboration, clarity, adaptability. Well, when you think about it, that makes sense, perfectly sense, that you must fulfill those basic needs to complete your project successfully. So that is a good reason to focus on fulfilling the 4 basic needs, else you will run into problems and fail. Well, the following point might be a little bit harder to grasp, but I discovered that fulfilling the 4 basic needs is also the only thing you need to do to complete your project successfully. You don't need to do anything else. And knowing this makes it much easier to focus on what is effective and what isn't. Well, this is how it works. All problems with projects can be traced back to these basic needs going unfulfilled. There seems to be no other cause. It is what your people will complain most about. That they have too many other things to do, they complain about poor communication, or that they don't get the support from others, from stakeholders for example. That they don't know what is expected from them, and that there is too much change. These are the 4 basic needs. And it means that if it doesn't fulfill a basic need, it isn't solving a problem either that is blocking your project from completion. So why bother about it? So how to do that? During the initiation stage, that's the first stage of the project, it is about getting clarity from your stakeholders about what the project is expected to deliver. And the nature of the work is asking questions, listening, summarizing, asking more questions. It is straightforward. You can figure out what to ask and whom to ask. And if you're not sure, just ask one of your colleagues. And it is a good idea to ask one of your colleagues to be your mentor for this first project. During the planning phase, that is the second phase of the project, you collaborate with your team to create clarity on how the deliverables will look like and about the plan of action needed to complete the tasks to create the deliverables. Well, this is what makes up your project plan. And you also need to clarify for yourself how much time you need from your team and what to do to fulfill those basic needs. And this will be your role during the next stage, and that is project execution. And that's the time when your project team will execute the plan to create the deliverables, and it is your role to fulfill the basic needs. Well, about the first basic need, that is about getting enough people to get the work done. This is what you have to fight for. And the most likely reason is that when you come in problems is that it is because they have too many other things to do. And for the rest, for fulfilling the basic needs, keep it simple, empower your team and collaborate. Well, during the project execution, you also keep constantly an eye on whether the basic needs are still fulfilled. And you know that that is the case when your project makes enough progress and you can handle the problems together with your team without losing control. Though when progress falls back, project starts delaying, there are more problems, you might even get the feeling I'm losing control, then, well, the basic needs have gone unfulfilled. Don't bother too much about what exactly went wrong, but work with your team on what must be done to fulfill those basic needs again. And this also applies for stakeholders that are outside your team. You also need to take care that those are involved in the basic needs. Well, the final stage is about project closure. And I'm not going to trouble you with that. You have enough time for it to prepare, it's just common sense. Well, this is actually what you have to do for it. But before I end this video, there are a few things I still like to say. Sometimes it is just impossible to complete a project successfully, whatever you try. When the project fails, even when you made a fatal mistake, it isn't your fault. Project failed and it will happen to you. Not because of you, but it just happens. When it happens, learn from it and enjoy when the plan comes together. And when you want to learn more about project management hacking, then you might consider subscribing to the YouTube channel of Empower Your Projects, follow me on LinkedIn, and check out my website Empower Your Projects, whether there are downloads or events scheduled. And for now, thanks for sharing your time and get in control.